Joe Colucci with the BaseballSwing.com. Taking a look at Adley Rutschman today. Switch hitter, catcher, defensive standout, and really a very, very good hitter, promising up and comer. So, I titled this video something along the lines of Rutschman's a natural born hitter. Um, and there's a reason I'm talking about that. And I think that's a good thing, right? So he seems to have fairly polished mechanics. He knows what he's doing up there. But in addition to that, I think he just has that hitter gene. He really finds the barrel to the ball in some way, shape, or form, regardless of his mechanics, good, bad, or indifferent. And there's some very good things going on. So let's get started. The thing I like most about Rutschman's move is the way he kind of loads up and coils. He's got things like we always talk about going two different ways. You notice the scap load and kind of bat handle going back, arm drawn back behind him while his front leg is striding out forward. In addition to that, Rutschman's got a pretty low leg kick here, traditional, hands out in front of the chest, but he gets this stretch, man, as good as anybody. And from this position here, as I said, he kind of runs that elbow back behind him. But not only is he gaining stretch laterally, he's doing it rotationally, pulling this back where his chest is pointing back towards the catcher. Belt buckle is in front of the plate, I would suspect at this point, but rotating open. Again, you can even see it here, how his hips are leading while his chest is, again, still back to the catcher. His hips are opening even more. This creates a lot of stretch, and you can see that typically in guys' jerseys, and you see it in Rutschman in spades. I mean, he is really coiled up and looks so ready to just kill it at this point. He's got everything going great. At this point, he continues down through the ball. My one concern would be he's up and out of the zone a little bit. He launches this ball, I believe it was at 28 degrees, 100 and some odd miles an hour, hits a home run. Okay, catches it out in front here on his front foot. Beautiful. Right elbow pinned to the hip, 90-degree bend in that top hand here. Arm pretty much across the chest. Really, this is awesome. This is great. Head's a little bit behind the knee, but that's okay. Not the end of the world. I kind of preferred a little more, his head that being a little more forward. But by no stretch is this spine angle too tilted. I mean, he's definitely trying to lift the ball. And there's indications of that after the swing where he goes palm up for an extremely long time. He's almost taking his shoulders, which are at this angle, and he's going to hoist his hands up in the air on a similar angle and just create a high launch angle. My concern kind of happens when we look at his path versus the pitch plane. So you can see the ball at this point starting to kind of come into the zone. Rutschman is very steep down into the ball, and that's a byproduct of being steep right here, similar to a Corey Seager, very close to his head with that bat barrel, which I guess guys try and do that to stay tight to the ball, and they want to be quick to the ball, and that straight line being the shortest point. The challenge becomes when guys get this steep is that getting that bat on plane. And as you can see here with Rutschman, he's got to come down really drastic, flatten out, and then go forward. It's just not natural. I would prefer these hands to be a little further back, and that would give the barrel time to drop a little earlier and sooner onto plane and simplify his move forward without any adjustments. Meaning if this bat were kind of pushed back a little bit and were flatter at this point, like you see so many of the greats, he could more or less just rotate into impact. He'd have a lot of adjustability as well. He could hit the ball deep. He could extend his arms to get to the ball out front. But from here, being so steep, he's kind of locked in, right? He has to flatten abruptly. While all his momentum is going down, he has to redirect that momentum to going out towards center field. which he does a great job of. So he gets it kind of here. If this ball continued down, you'd see, and he made contact here, he'd hit it straight in the ground. Now, this is way too deep to be on plane, like, or to expect somebody to be kind of leveled off. And we don't have all the frames in the world, but as we click forward, obviously, and you can see when we track the bat, he does get it leveled off. And now he's starting to work and playing with the ball. Let's zoom in a second here. So you see the tip of the ball here. That's where it is. The bat's here. So somewhere in between is where he's going to make contact. And as best I can tell, it's right around this mark. So what do I mean about him being too steep coming down, and consequently he's got to have perfect timing. He can really only hit the ball in this area here. If he were to hit the ball, let's say back here, he's going to pop it up. If he gets it even deeper, he might even swing under this or foul it back. He's not going to crush it. So because this distance from his bat barrel to the ball line, and we see it here, the bat's coming down on an angle, obviously. This is his ideal contact position. And like I said, here he hits a home run, over 100 miles an hour, launches it up in the air, great. But he's going to pop it up here or foul it back or maybe even swing and miss. The problem is when he gets really in an area more where you see these lines kind of intersecting, we take this back. His plane is so steep, he'll catch it here on the barrel in this area, but he's going to hit it straight into the ground. It's tough. It really is. It's to look at a swing that is so powerful, looks so good, yet it's flawed. I really believe it is. I think he could do better again if he were back here, and his bat wasn't quite so steep coming in, and he started to slot it even a little earlier. That would allow him to be a little more level through impact and not rely so much on that great timing he obviously has. Is his swing garbage? No. I mean, not even close to being garbage. And this impact position, although the bat, I believe, is moving up a little too abruptly, he's swinging up pretty significantly. This impact position, guys, is exactly where you want to be. He is using his body, and let me just get rid of these lines. And you can even see it in slow motion. He's just thrusting that whole left side into the ball with a lot of force, a lot of body mass, and he's maxing out his ability to hit long home runs. I really love the way he keeps that hand underneath and connected, really. I mean, his left arm elbow is still by his side, way, way past the ball. Typically what you'll see, and what I may even teach, is that, do you want it right aligned with your pinstripe? That would be perfect, as is this arm coming across the chest. I would prefer if he weren't so steep coming down and he were a little on plane earlier, his energy would be going out in more of a straight direction with the bat, with a slight uptick. For instance, this ball's coming down at about 5 degrees. Hey, why not meet it at 5 degrees and give yourself the most opportunity to hit a line drive hard somewhere? You catch it a little off the top of the bat, it goes out. Catch it a little on top, bat on ball. You hit a hard line drive ground ball somewhere. But Rutchschman doesn't do that. Again, because he was so steep coming in, he's going to have to be steep coming out. There's no way around it. It's hard to redirect momentum from super steep and then just kind of, without pushing your hands and arms out in front of you, to direct it out towards the pitcher on a more shallower plane, say, 5, 6, 7, 8 degrees through the ball. So it's not perfect. And I know this is kind of coming off as negative. And I think this guy's, tremendous. I really do. I think he's a gamer, seems like a nice kid. He looks like he loves to compete. He put up good numbers. There's so much to love about him. Defensively, he's outstanding as well. He did not hit for a low average. I believe he was in like that 270 range, 280 range. So he's a good, complete hitter. It's just I think he could be better. And I would like to point out to you guys, again, he gets very steep coming down here, and then he has to be steep going out. And this left arm of his is going straight skyward, and pulling the bat almost up with it. He never allows this arm to extend freely on a more level plane. He really holds on to it and allows his shoulders and his tilt, body tilt, to direct his launch angle and control his launch angle. As much as I talk about being connected in this beautiful position he achieves, looking great at impact, at some point this arm needed to straighten, and the bat barrel consequently would go straight out towards center field as opposed to straight up in the air. So at this point, I would really let that elbow disconnect, the left one from his side, let those wrists turn over by this point, and you'd end up with a launch angle that was, it could be lower. There's nothing wrong with the launch angle on this pitch. It's great. It gets over the fence. But again, the idea is to make consistent contact, not swing over balls when they're back. Kind of in the middle here in this area where he's going to, or I'm sorry, swing under. He's going to swing under this, or he's going to pop it up at best. All right. And that's, again, all derived from being so steep coming into the ball. So if you are videotaping yourself and looking at swings, this path or swing plane, you would like ideally for it to be not so abruptly down and abruptly out. You would like to see it a little flatter, whereas you can possibly hit a pitch back here if you're beat. You can certainly hit it from the middle of your stance. You can get it off the front foot and then even extend out further and get it out in front of you. That's ideal. And I think that's a great blend of hitting for average and power. And you'll see this in other hitters. In fact, I'm doing a video on Juan Soto coming up shortly. And you'll see it in him. I think that's why he's capable of a higher batting average. All things being equal, his swing is what I believe better. But again, I know this is kind of coming off kind of negative. If I had a team and I could pick a catcher to start it with, it might be this guy. He's really, really productive. Oddly enough, he doesn't strike out a lot. And this is kind of what I meant by he's got that hitter gene. He just finds the barrel. He finds a way. He's got a lot of good things going on in his swing, but I would predict with this swing, most people will be prone to more strikeouts maybe than they need to have. Yet, I believe he struck out around 80 times last year in a full season. So, not horrific, not horrible, especially nowadays. That probably looks even good. But believe me, back in the day, there were guys striking out 20, 40 times, and giving themselves a little more chance for a higher batting average and being more productive, some doubles in the gaps. Would he give up home runs? I'm not so sure. Possibly, but, maybe this guy's going to max out at about 30 bombs a year, so he'd hit 25. Give me that 40 points of batting average and a couple more doubles, and his OPS is going to be just as high, if not higher. And he'd be harder to pitch to. So, again, I've seen Rutchschman, and I broke down a bunch of swings. The ball up, the ball down. He handles all of them extremely well. And he has this pattern where he is very steep coming into the ball, like you see here on a thigh-high pitch. He does get the bat below plane, kind of in between, maybe off his belt. And then he swings abruptly up, slightly abruptly up, if that even makes sense. He swings up through the ball. So goes along with the modern launch angle kind of stuff, I guess. But I just see this guy could be, maybe like a little bit of a Jorge Posada. Yet Posada had the ability to hit 300. I mean, he almost led the league in hitting one year. I think he hit 340 or something crazy. But Posada's swing was much flatter through the ball. Now, again, this isn't, Posada was better than Rutchschman or any of that stuff, or even had a better swing. But just like this, if I were working with him, I would like to see this bat kind of in the zone a longer time, not down under it and then back up into it. That means his ideal hitting area, and really his only hitting area, is right out here. But because he is such a good natural born hitter, he's able to, maintain a decent average and move the ball around a little. I think that's being young, strong, flexible, extremely athletic. Again, a natural hitter. I just think he could do a little better. So that's my thoughts on Rutchman. Hope there was something in it for you that helped. Once again, Joe Colucci with thebaseballswing.com. Please check out the website. Got a lesson promo going over there. You can send me your video, and I'll kind of take a look out of it and go from there. See if it's something we can move forward with. All right, guys, have a great one. Again, hope you enjoyed it, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time.